I'm going to present my research paper on AI voice acting. Now, here's something that I want you to ask. Which of these do you recognize? Of course, a lot of them. We got The Simpsons, we got SpongeBob, we got Naruto, we got One Piece. The top three are a bit more obscure, but you probably know them. Now, what do these things have in common? Anyone can guess?
Voice acting.
They're animated.
Well, true, they are animated, but there's also another thing. Voice acting. Simply said, all of these characters would not have their voices without voice actors. And simply said, they are integral to the world of animation and to character building. Simply said, everyone wants to make things simpler, and corporations know that. They want to make the same voice actors do the same thing, but cheaper. So, what do? Of course, hiring an actual voice actor is expensive sometimes. But what if it can replicate one? That is what AI is trying to do. And simply said, there has been lots of examples and lots of success. So, what could go wrong, right? Turns out quite a lot. In 2024, in 2024, SAG-AFTRA, known as the Association for Actors, Developers, and any creative department, gone on strike on the video game department. This strike lasted for about 3 to 4 months and struck a quite large portion of the video game industry. Simply said, during that time, multiple voice actors and other developers have stopped working and went on strike in support of respecting their rights, because AI has done quite irreparable damage. AI being, of course, replicating their voice for one without their consent, and two, AI having used their voice and likenesses for profit without their permission nor a cut. So this becomes a bit of a problem. And of course, a large stigma has been created because of this incident, with AI being unpopular in so many creative departments. But corporations still want to incorporate it. People still want at least cheaper models to make their own visions come to life. So is there a way to actually make them work together? That is a question I want to ask myself. Now, I have multiple theories on the basis of this, but in my theorization, I feel like it is possible, but only through certain means, which is either through audio mixing or standby voices. Now, of course, this is only just a theory, and I have not fully done it, but let's move on to the next things to understanding the entire problem. For one, we need some context. For voice actors, I'm trying to say that for this paper, they need to be only for the they are only for the entertainment policy. They are only entertainment focus. For what I mean by entertainment focus, I mean video games, movies, and TV. Next, AI. The AI I'm actually talking about is called generative AI, not learning AI. This means that AI that can generate an entire algorithm to use either voice or an image or anything like that to make into another thing. And finally, implementation. What I mean by implementation is that both parties, both the voice actor and the AI, can work together harmoniously without any conflict. Next. Now, the significance of this is pretty simple. Voice actors have been trying to get some of their rights from AI. So this paper is significant to give voice actors a bit more autonomy with their actual voices and their likenesses. Next is, of course, to showcase the faults that AI has when it comes to these departments. Of course, AI can't always be perfect, even though it can try to be. So this paper will showcase the faults and the problems that AI cause, not only in a technical aspect, but also in a social and lawful aspect. Next is to give attention to the problem of AI, because even though it is prominent, we need to give more attention to more obscure industries that have been affected largely by AI. And finally, it is to show the impacts of AI and what happens if they're implemented correctly. This means that what if AI was to be implemented into the voice actor industry, and if it could actually improve it. Next is target audience. For voice actors and experts, I've been trying to find at least voice actors who have been in at least one project. That project has to be worldwide acclaimed, which means everyone at least knows it or has a large view count, and are willing to talk about the subject of AI. For the audiences, for the surveys, I'm looking for people between the ages of 13 to 25, have at least a slight interest in creative firms, which means either TVs, movies, or voice act or films, but in the general sense that not people just watch, but also try to learn those aspects. And finally, surveyors will be both in here, locally in Surabaya, and also worldwide through online surveys. And data gathering will be done through Google surveys, and of course, paper surveys. The Google surveys are pretty self-explanatory, they're online, anyone can gather them. And paper surveys are for the option that people want. For my experts, I contacted Alana Fitzgerald. Alana Fitzgerald being known for projects like Murder Drones and Gaslight District. Both are indie shows from the, both are indie projects, which means independent developed projects. That's from Twitch Studios, which is over 100 million subscribers, if I'm right. So yeah, not bad. So pretty worldwide acclaim. Next is Justice Slocum as my second expert, who has been in both Persona 3 Reload and additional voices in the Yakuza games, if anyone knows what Yakuza games is. So with my surveys, I would try to at least give some topics. And here are some of the results that I think are most common. For one, the rating. So what do people think of AI in general when it comes to their voices? It turns out, quite surprisingly, pretty split in the middle. Now, there are some outliers. For one, there's only 2 people here that said that it is actually way better than anyone can imagine. Meanwhile, on the other aspect, 9 people said it's the worst thing to ever exist. But, as you see the majority, it's split down the middle, which is surprising. I was expecting more of a, well, big split, with a larger majority on the 1s and 10s, and not with this much spread. Another thing I wanted to ask is, of course, do you think they can replace voice actors? In which a large majority said no, 72.3% to be exact. Okay. This is also not really all that surprising to me, but I was surprised over the fact that it's more than a tiny bit of a quarter of the actual amount of surveys. I forgot to mention that I have 65 surveyors for this department. So, of course, it's a bit of a surprise. Next is, do you think AI implementation is possible? And a majority said maybe, which is a bit weird, because the fact is, AI implementation has been done in multiple other industries, like say medical or scientific. But in the creative space, it's always a maybe. The amount of people who said yes are about nearly 20 people, and pretty much no said a majority of 10. Now, I think this might be due to bias for the amount of people that said no, but I'm diagnosing. And finally, I have to word this very properly. So, in your opinion, should AI not be used in the voice acting industry? By not, I mean that yes means I do not want AI in this majority in this industry as a whole, and no being I think it's possible. With here, it's pretty split almost, with a majority still saying yes, but also half of it almost saying no. This is a bit surprising again, but it could be due to the fact that there's a bit of a stigma against AI. So yeah, there's a bit of a problem. With my interview with Alana Fitzgerald, I have learned a couple things. For one, the opinion in AI has been a bit mixed. Of course, voice actors hate it because of their reputation and have been using their voices being cloned multiple times and being an honest threat, and also being creepy. But when it comes to AI implementation, and by the means of helping with certain aspects, they do agree that AI does have some benefits. But they have one single problem. That is that if they use AI, they feel like they betrayed their own voice actors. They betray their own voice actors by using AI to help them at least with their stuff. So in conclusion, I feel like AI could be implemented, but it has to be under the supervision and the choice of the voice actor themselves. However, when it comes to a full implementation, like say everyone has to use AI in their voice acting roles, I wouldn't afraid to say it's impossible, since there would be lots of issues. Thank you, and here are the references if you are curious, and thank you for listening to my presentation.
Okay.